What an interesting Sunday we're having so far. I was cleaning off my counters and I started working on my bookshelf, and I have a couple of binders that things that I've written I have in the binders, right? And I was moving those binders from the kitchen where I took them out of the box yesterday to put in my bedroom on the bookshelf, and some post-it notes fell out. Yeah, so some post-it notes fell out, right? And I picked them up, and it says, I'll show you. These are the two post-it notes. The fall, tree of good and evil, don't make your own values. And then mortality that emerges in consequence of repeated voluntary play. Now, today's June 28th, 2026. Good morning. It's an 8-day. Today's about the integration of the I am. The integration of the I am. So, I started looking into this a little bit. And I took some notes. The tree of good and evil, do not make your own values. Mortality that emerges in consequence of repeated voluntary play. The choice to engage in the game of duality. Repeated participation in the illusion of separation, judgment, and moral binaries. This is good, that is evil. That's the moral binary. The fall is the descent into the identification with the play. You're identifying with duality. And you're forgetting that you're the dreamer. Okay, so let's see, where was I? Right, we're forgetting that we're the dreamer. Don't make your own values, right? Who are you to judge that something is good or something is bad? The fall and mortality arises from repeated voluntary play in the game. When you're constantly judging, when you're constantly saying you're wrong and I'm right, or that's wrong and this is right, or that's good and this is bad. This and that are true. Identifying with the ego is what that is. You're identifying with your ego. The ego judges, labels, and manufactures personal values rooted in separation. So eating from the tree, meaning the tree of good and evil, it's not about gaining knowledge. It's the moment the ego steps in and says, I will now decide what is good and bad for myself, which fractures the direct knowing of oneness, the I am. Right? Okay, so I wanted to find not just, everybody's familiar with this story of Adam and Eve, but the prophets were constantly trying to tell the people of their time this story in different ways. So Ezekiel 28, verses 12 through 17, is the story about the king of Tyre and pride as the cherub in Eden. Can't have the cat food. You are the signet of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. You were an anointed guardian cherub. You were blameless in all your ways from the day you were created till unrighteousness was found in you. Your heart was proud because of your beauty. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of the splendor. And then Isaiah 14, where he's talking to the king of Babylon. And this is the story of Lucifer's fall from pride. How you were fallen from heaven, O day star, son of dawn. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven above the stars of God. I will set my throne on high. I will make myself like the Most High. but you were brought down into Sheol. I just saw something. Oh. If you feel it, or if you say it from your mouth, but you don't feel it in your heart, or if you say it in your heart, but don't say it out of your mouth, you're still sinning. Isn't that what Jesus said? In other words, I don't know. But anyway. But you were brought down to Sheol. Okay, so Sheol, that's the underworld. Etymologically speaking, literally speaking, the word root that it comes from, it literally means to ask or inquire. And if Sheol is the underworld, but it literally means to ask or inquire. Dark night of the soul. A forced descent where the ego games get stripped away. What have I chosen? What illusions am I clinging to? Until all that's left is who am I? And if you haven't gotten to that part of life, it's coming. God, I hope nobody ever has to go through a dark night. But unfortunately, until we really learn what this spirituality thing is, we wander the desert for 40 years. Who am I? Voluntary play is the tree. It's the ego making its own values, and this initiates the pull down. Sheol is the dark night. It becomes the consequence and the crucible. It's the place where the soul confronts mortality, where repeated voluntary patterns get exposed so they can be released or redeemed. Until finally all that's left is I am. No judgment, no expectation, no nothing. It is what it is. Now, interesting. I was like, well, if we're gonna talk about the crucible, let's pull the wild unknown alchemy, right? And as I was shuffling, I said, I just want one card. Let's just pull one card and see what comes up. I split the deck and I happened to see the red and white rose. And when you're running metal through a crucible, a hot crucible, the precious metal is at the bottom and the dross and ash is at the top, the slag, when you pour it off, the slag. Okay, so I saw the red and white rose first. The red and white rose is likened to a Kundalini awakening. If Flos Sapientum appears along with the Pneuma card, it's a sure sign that the answers will be found in the body and breath, not in the mind. It says vital force, arising, awakening. In the laboratory, the merging of red and white is an exquisite moment. It means something is coming to life before the alchemist's eyes. The pristine white of the rose is not threatened by the blood red pigment. Their mixing does not make pink. Rather, each color remains vibrantly itself, expressing its message, like the rod of Asclepius, representing health and vitality. The Flos Sapientum appears to signify the awakening of the physical as a gateway to the spiritual. Without the body, spiritual teachings remain conceptual, not yet integrated into the everyday. This card encourages the alchemist to honor the body as a temple each and every day, observing it, listening to it, mining it for information and guidance. At its height, this card signifies a mastery, a uniting of body to serve the soul's purpose, as seen in the like of dancers, athletes, and during the birth process. Ash is card number 33. Is the universal Christ number. Christ is the perfect blending of the physical and the spiritual. God embodied in man. The red and white rose and ash. Hold on one second. All right, ash, memory, ancestors, the past. Fire is a great equalizer. Do not take this card personally, but rather as a call to be present and kind to yourself and others as we navigate the challenge of letting go. The ash card is subtle but powerful, affecting the entire reading. Envision it as an ashen layer covering all the surrounding cards and shifting their meaning. Ash represents what has come before it. The fire is over now, and its flames took with it all recognizable form of what was burned. Only memories and the soft gray ashen substance remain. When this card appears, look back and sift through what has occurred. You are in the realm of ancestors, past relationships, and those that have passed to another realm. Be gentle with the process as it's delicate and sacred. The ash card asks us to tend to the true nature of endings, grief, and letting go. You may be asked to be present with others experiencing loss. When in doubt, be like ash. It's silken, light, and easily carried by the wind. Soften into the memories and into the tears. Eventually, forgiveness follows, and the heart travels light. What is going on with the collective that they need to have this I am initiation? What are they seeking today? One faithful friend. Hazel, get out of the cat food. Blinded by bias. Need one more. Leave your reality. And you're resisting the change. All right. One faithful friend. All we need is that one faithful friend who will have our backs in a crisis, sit by us when we're sad, and laugh with us until tears stain our cheeks. But it goes beyond being there for each other in the obvious ways. It also means trusting that both act with the best intentions, trusting that neither will not do the other harm even when they disagree. It is to have faith in each other and the love that is between you. It is a bond that goes beyond loyalty, but nor is blind. Devoted as you both might be, friends who are faithful can also be honest with each other and question dishonorable behavior that is unfair, unkind, or harmful. To be faithful is to have each other's best interests at heart, but to also hold each other accountable. This is you, and this is your shadow. Remember, this and that are true. Right now and back then, both happened. Your shadow is just as much a part of you as your higher self. The I am had to be integrated. You had to learn who you were. No, you had to learn how to remember who you are. Bias is defined as the prejudice that has a person favoring a belief, an ideology, person, or group over another, often unfairly and without informed reason. While some preferences, like for strawberry over chocolate, are innocent, bias is the foundation of all aggression, oppression, inequality, stereotyping, and social injustice. We can be good people at our core, but become less wise, less accepting, and empathetic because of our biases. Our biases influence our thoughts, emotions, our day-to-day lives, our interactions with others, our decision-making process, our ability to be objective, impartial, and have an open mind. Even our ability to receive advice and help can be unduly affected. There's very little that's not influenced by our personal and often unconscious biases. Again, the shadow. This and that are true. What did I say yesterday? About yesterday's Divine Feminine reading talked about compassion for others through, like seeing their projections, but not judging them for it. Leave your reality. Spider comes to tell you that all is mind. All is as we perceive it to be. Our thoughts and beliefs shape our perception, which in turn shapes our relationship with the world. It affects how we behave and act as we move through our day. We live what we believe. What is the nature of your thoughts and beliefs? How do you see your life? In a positive, negative, or grounded and realistic manner? Is your life everything you wanted it to be, or at the very least, is it the life that brings you more satisfaction and peace than it does pain and disappointment? Are you full of curiosity and wonder, or have you become cynical and closed off? Do you love your life and live it with passion? Or do you make your way from one day to the next, doing what is necessary and nothing more? Has your perception been skewed by beliefs that are misinformed and no longer serve you? Has your journey been slowed by an emotional or psychological burden that you have carried for far too long? So, under being bullheaded is the card Trust the Science. Science can be defined as the methodical study of the nature and behavior of the universe and all that dwells within it by making an observation, forming a hypothesis, and then testing the hypothesis through investigation and experimentation. I don't want to look at my shadow. You have to do the shadow work. You have to be able to observe where undeserving villains is this card. You have to be able to observe yourself villainizing other people. Why am I doing that? What is the reason for that? This is how shadow work happens. It strips everything away until all that's left is who am I? Until you finally figure out through this method, by doing it over and over and over and over again, the methodology, methodical, through the methodical questioning of why am I doing this? Why am I treating that person that way? I don't feel that way about that person. What was the trigger? It's only then that you can really see that this and that are true. Nothing is inherently good or evil, and neither is any person. All right. I love you guys. 2112 on the timer. I hope you guys have a great day. 2112 reduces to 33. I love you.